Hello, happy Sunday afternoon. Okay, my Discord's broken on the desktop. I don't know if it's broken on my iPad, and I didn't bring my iPad in with me. And I'm sorry, but hang on a minute. Here, the yarn's in my way here. I'm gonna get turned around. There we go. So, I've been trying to get a posting on Discord saying that I was going live because I know that notifies a lot of my viewers. And it just was saying, no, I won't do that. I won't post. I won't post. And so I logged out, went to go to log in, and it turned out the email that I logged in was not the Yarn Spinner's Tales. I'm sorry, my husband is talking in there. I don't know why I guess he's talking to himself. Maybe he's talking to the TV. I don't know. Anyway, it turns out that wasn't Yarn Spinner's Tales. It was a gaming Discord that I used to use years and years and years ago, and I am just like totally confused. And so I just said, never mind, you know, we'll get it fixed. And I'll just make myself a note, fix Discord login. Okay, in the meantime, let's just relax and go with the flow here and have a stream. And the very first thing I want to do is talk about washing skeins of yarn, because that's what I did this morning. And it dawned on me that I would like to make a highlight about how I wash skeins of yarn after they're spun. And I ought to just stick that right here, and then I'll have it to make a highlight. So, first of all, do you have to wash your skeins? I'm going to say yes. Because if you don't, you're going to run into a few problems. One, your swatching may not be accurate, especially if you end up swatching, knitting with it unwashed, and then you wash the product. Now, felting is off the table. We're not talking about knitting something with handspun and then felting it. That's not at all what we're talking about. We're talking about making handspun yarn, knitting with it, and then wearing it or using it in other ways. So, the reason that you want to wash your handspun is not because it's dirty. Now, if you use a spinning oil, and some people do, I don't, it is usually a mixture of a few drops of oil in a bunch of water for squirting onto the fiber, and it does help if you've got intense staticky, like it's flying away kind of thing. Some people use it when they're doing very flyaway fibers like Angora. I do not like having wet fiber and spinning it. I don't feel like I can draft it. I don't feel like I'm just smoothing the fiber into a shape, right? I don't feel like I'm really getting twist in it, right? So, sometimes I do alpaca fibers without washing it, and it's dirty. It will leave dust on my fingers, but that is about the only time I run into fiber that is so dirty that I know I have to wash the yarn, right? The yarn that I generally spin is out of processed roving or top or fiber that I have drum carded or combed. I have washed it before I've done that. I know that it's clean. I know what I buy is clean. And so your only reason for for washing a handspun yarn that is out of those kinds of fiber is to set the twist. And you want to set the twist because if you don't set it ahead of time before you knit or crochet with it or use it, and then you turn around after you use it and you put it in water, the twist will move, and you're going to get a crinkled fabric. Now, it's not going to be, you might get away with it if you spun your yarn loosely and there's lots of room for that twist to run around and settle in. You may not even notice it. But if you happen to spin pretty tightly and that twist wants to go somewhere and it can't go anywhere because the twist behind it is tight, and then it's just going to, and you've got crinkly fabric. So you definitely want to put your skein into water. Does it need soap? No, but I do. Second reason is because of dyed fibers, which will run when they are put in water. Now, this is called a bleed risk, and it isn't always true that it will run, but you never know. In fact, some of the fiber that I washed today. Hang on a minute. What's up, hon? Yeah, I'm on. All right. Hi. So anyway, where was I? Too many interruptions here. Okay, you want to wash your skein of yarn after you spin it because of it being dyed and there being dye come off of the fiber into the water. If you throw a bunch of skeins together and you happen to have white with dark and the dye bleeds off into it, then you're going to have that go on to your white fiber. So the third thing about washing the skeins is you do light colors together, just like laundry, right? Just like laundry. You do all your whites together. You do all your natural wools, undyed wools, light or dark, together. And I generally separate them lights and darks. And then you do your dyed fibers. And if you have a bunch of them, that are a bunch of yarns that you have spun from dyed fibers, especially if you didn't do the dyeing, you're going to want to put light colors together, or just do, if like I had 3 skeins of one that I had done, I just put those 3 skeins together in the sink. That soap is good in that case in particular. Now, I don't use soap. I use something that I get from Ravelry, which is called Soak, S-O-A-K. It is soapy, it's sudsy, but it is a special formula that they've developed for yarns, whether you spin them or buy them commercially, for yarns and things that are knitted or crocheted out of yarn, that is and does not need rinsing. So if you happen to not get the soap all rinsed out, you can rinse it, but if you don't get it all rinsed out, it isn't going to affect it, because they have made a formula of product that does not need to be rinsed out. You can take it directly out of the product and squeeze it out and dry it, which is what I did with the ones that I did today. It does come in fragrance or fragrance free. I did my skeins today fragrance free. I do that mostly because I really only wash with the fragrance one if it's something that I've knit, I want to wash, and it's mine. I'm keeping it. If I believe that it's going to go for sale or whatever, I go with the fragrance free. Let's see, what else about washing skeins? Takes a while to dry. I do not put them in a mesh bag and spin them. Now, when I wash fiber, after I drain it really good, I put and squeeze it out with my hands. I put it in a mesh bag and I do a short turn, about 30 seconds on my spin cycle in my washer. That really gets the water out of the fiber that I was washing. However, I don't like putting the skeins of yarn in a mesh bag and then spinning them, because I get tangles, right? Even though the skeins are tied or whatever, it really does end up not looking really good. Tangled up, and just a problem to, get it all. You lose your nice skein. Why lose your nice skein when you went to all the trouble to get it in a nice skein, right? So, anyway, what I do is squeeze it really good with my hand, and you can squeeze this. You are not going to felt it, because felting is created by soap and agitation, not just squeezing, right? So it's okay to squeeze it out good and dry. Then I roll it in a towel. I let it stay in that towel about 30 minutes, and I use these great big bath sheet, the older ones, and sometimes beach towels work really good too. If you've got a beach towel you don't want to use anymore. Anyway, you would just lay your skein out and roll it up, let it sit in there for a little bit, and then you take it and you lay it out on a place to dry. And I have two of those. I have this one back here, which is a square I put together and then take apart to store. I have another one that is circular, two-layered, hangs from my shower curtain rod in the bathroom. Not a problem. The skeins aren't wet enough. They're not going to drip or anything, so I can just hang it there and let them dry until they'll dry. So they'll be there for a couple days. That's basically things about washing fiber. I should have made notes, but I'll probably think of other things and tell you, but it won't make it into the highlight. All right, we're going to have ads coming in 2 minutes, which will be fine. I will switch over when the ads start, and we'll be done with that chat. So happy Sunday afternoon. I hope you've been having a good weekend. I have. Yesterday I got to go to a fiber fair, and I have show and tell for that too. I'm going to wait for after the ad for that. Use the other camera. I didn't buy much. Don't need to buy much. I did not buy any fleeces, as promised to hubby that I wouldn't buy any more fleeces this year. But I did buy skein yarn and some fiber to spin. And the rest of the week has been very quiet. Like that, really, the most fiber work I did was the spinning that I did on the stream last Wednesday evening, and the washing of the skeins. I got my felting pillow in the mail, and so that is for those great big black bats. I want to felt them. And by the way, at the fiber fair, I saw somebody who had done exactly what I wanted to do. Now, I have not seen it before this. I totally believe in the ether net, okay? And it is, once I think of something, somebody else has thought of something. And we all kind of trigger our own thoughts, right? And we all end up hearing those unknowns to us. Because I can't tell you how many times I've come up with an idea and not seen it anywhere, and then turn around and see it. It was beautiful work. First of all, they got the black background really felted. I believe it was more wet felted than what I did. Okay. I believe that I did not get it as well felted as I could have with the wet felt. And second of all, the artist was good with very, very delicate floral design. In other words, it wasn't great big globs of, it was just real wispy, very beautiful. And so I was impressed. And I have the visual in my mind. I didn't take a picture of it, but I have a visual of it in my mind for what I want to do. Okay, see you on the other side of the ads. case some of those of you who are not in ads are still hanging around, I'm going to get stuff out from yesterday so I can show you all. I took 2 bags, a great big one. I'm trying to find all my receipts. Here's another one. I'll put those away. And I stuck a little bag in it, but I didn't end up using the little bag. Oh, I got a magnet. I remember now. What? Oh, okay. Oh, you all are still in ads. Okay. Where I went is called Southern Indiana Fiber and Arts Festival, and they abbreviate it as SIFAF. That's their card and logo. So, let's see here. I don't have any metal on my computer. They have gotten away with. They don't make the metal cases anymore. They're kind of they're plastic. So I don't have any place to put it in here. I'll have to put it somewhere else. I'm in the process of plying, and I tried to look up the dyed fiber because I put the card away. I don't know why I did that. I shouldn't. I clean up and I put things away, and I shouldn't because I still refer to them when I'm working on them. But I did. All right. So the very first I could use it. I could use it in the stream. It looks pretty cool. Of course, it says Happy Holidays, but really this is for my kitchen. See, it's a kitchen towel. I couldn't resist. It has a really sweet rose. You can't tell, but that's a rose button. And it's a nice soft towel. And I thought, oh man, that's what I need for Christmas in my kitchen. $5. Not bad. Not bad. Somebody had made a bunch of these, and she said, you know, I've sold the most of this. This is what I sold all 2 days. The Fiber Fair was a Friday and a Saturday. I was there on a Saturday. So, yeah, they had already had 1 day of people coming and buying stuff. Okay, so the very first thing I went into was a Yarnmobile, which is a great big van that they set. You know, they just park and they have a ramp and you go up in there and all their yarns are in there. And I will tell you, I have avoided going in there before, but this was not a big fiber fair. There was maybe 25 vendors, if that. I'm not even sure there was that many. And it wasn't crowded, not at all. That's usually the reason I don't go to it, into one of those, because when they're at a fiber fair that's very crowded, it's very crowded in that little van. I mean, it's just your standard little service van kind of thing, set up with all the yarns in it. But I bought some sock yarn. This is wonderfully soft, and it is called Haunted Houses. I just love this color. Yeah, it's gray, but I just gotta go with anything I want to wear it with, right? And it is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon per my standard sock yarn. This is what I make my socks out of all the time. 460 yards, very generous. You know, when I don't have big feet, so I can get big cuffs when I have this much yarn. So that was the first thing I bought. I love this. Gonna have to wind it into a ball. It's got nice little bits of fall color. See, there's even a little bit of pink right there. So, but as far as fiber goes, everything was silk. Everything was silk today. Yesterday. And you know, I'm not sure. I was going to talk about this a little bit. I found it to be very short supply of fiber to spin. There were a fair number of fleeces. Not fair number, you know. I probably looked at 20 different fleeces, but not all the same vendor, you know, all over. And there was very little processed fiber. And I found that to be really unusual. In that I did not buy any wool, right? I only bought a few things of silk. It's an okay, I mean, I shouldn't be buying anything. And if I'm going to pick something I have the least of, it's silk. It's definitely silk. So I was at least choosing wisely. But I also felt like I really wanted to buy some stuff because, you know, like I said, it was such a small venue and there were so few people there. And I know how that feels when you have a booth. Then they had what they usually have an animal area, and they had 2 llamas. One person brought 2 llamas, and that was it. I didn't even go down to talk to them. I would stay. You had to walk a little bit to get to them, and so I didn't even go down to talk to them. Although, you know, I sat outside and watched them for a little while. But because it was a beautiful day, and we took, after we went around everywhere, we took a break outside, sat on a bench for a little bit. So anyway, there was a huge place for people to sit and a big circle to put a spinning wheel, you know, sit with a spinning wheel, and there was one person spinning, and I felt so bad. I almost took my drop spindle, and I thought, hubby is not going to want to sit around and wait, and I was right. I mean, we needed to, we had not eaten before, and it was about 3 o'clock when we left. We got there about 1:30. We were there about an hour and a half. So anyway, I knew we needed to go get something to eat, and on the way, we also went past a farm market, and I went in and I got apples. Not enough to make a batch of applesauce, but enough to keep me baking the things I like to bake with apples and eating. And I got 3 fantastic Bartlett pears. Oh my gosh, they are so sweet and juicy. They are so good. And fresh tomatoes. And, oh, what else did I buy? Sweet potatoes for me. Hubby won't eat them, but I got 3 to bake for me over the winter. They'll keep. So, anyway, let's go back to silk. So, silk comes in various ways, forms for spinning. And this, I bought these 2. This is called sari silk, where they're not chopping up saris. They are using leftover fibers from making saris. And I'm talking about the Oriental garment, okay, SARI. And so this is they just, whatever they have left over, they put together. So you end up getting a very variegated multicolored yarn. But in this format, it's super easy to spin thin. And the lady who had the booth said that she took her single and applied it with acrylic, a single of commercial acrylic yarn, in order to, extend the silk and not ply it together. I don't know what I'm going to do, but it takes a really light touch to be able to spin this, right? And it also will have little bits of chunkiness to it, right? Slubs. It has slubs in it. So I got those two balls, so soft and shiny, so shiny. But I think I'm going to try and find something to ply it with, not put these two colors together. I mostly got these two. This one's a little, I like this one the best. This one's a little more rainbowy, but I like the green under for both of them. So I think I'm going to find something to ply with it. Probably not something I spin, although it's possible. It's possible that I can find a silk that I have already in stock. Yeah. I have already in my stash that might work for spinning and playing with it. The second way silk comes is called hankies. And these are hankies. Got two different colors. Well, I'll just show you the colors first. The two different colors. Sort of isn't that pretty greenish color? And then a very purple gold color. Now, I was thinking I might ply these together, but I don't really know either. It is possible that I will spin this on the Nano, which has a very, very light pull-in, which is something that you need with silk. Alright, we have this stapled shut here. Alright, so I'm going to pull this out. And this is why they're called hankies, because they look like a hanky. And the way they make this, there are multiple ones here. So there's an edge to it, and that's what you want to work off, is the edge, so that you're all right. Oop. Now this one has two. And sometimes it's hard to tell. You just have to use the edge and pull that apart in order to get what you want. Can you see what I'm doing here? I know that, I'm pretty sure I have done a thing on YouTube on silk hankies. But this is one. You can see, look at that, right? And the way you spin this, you cannot just spin it like this, because it just doesn't work at all. So the way you spin this is to make it into a roving. So you start in the center, and you just start pulling it towards the edges. You Just start making it wider and wider like that. And then you just go around, and you have to really be far apart in order to pull it. I mean, my hands are way far apart in order to pull it. And I'll try and do this. Now I'm just going around the circle, right? I got one thicker area here. I'm going to try and work on a little bit. Look at that. See? I have made roving. See that? That was that hanky. Now I'll keep doing this until eventually one part just pops apart, and then I can't really stretch it anymore. And to be honest with you, I'm trying to get it as thin as I want to spin it, because drafting is hard. You can't pull like this against a spinning wheel while it's moving. As I open this up, right, it just gets easier and easier to draft. Now I am running into my fiber I've been spinning on here, but this is what it looks like now. See? And I find a thinner spot, like right here. And I wrap it up loosely into a ball. I will probably pre-draft a little bit more before I spin it. This is one hanky ready to spin. And you think, oh man, that's not much fiber, but it spins so thin. Ready to go. So, yes, I got I got 2 packs of these. Each pack was $9, which is a wonderful price for silk. And see if I can get this back in there. I think I'm going to fold them because this is sticky and I don't want it kept there. Plus, I can throw that in there. Okay. Last of all, what I got was something I've never done before because it's something that somebody brought out brand new or new, and it looks like a kid's toy, doesn't it? It's a sheep, all right, but what you do is, using your own yarn, commercial or hand spun, you fill this in like a loom. So you start out, and this sheet is for multiple designs that they have. But this is the one I bought. It has the holes all around there. So it shows you how to warp it. And you are warping it going this way. And this is showing the back of it. You have, the warp going in and out of the holes along there. And then you take whatever you want to use for your weft on a needle, and you just start filling in over and under, back and forth, over and under, back and forth. And it looks so cute. It could be painted. I might paint it brown. I might paint it white. In particular, so the kit is two. They come, together, but it's actually two. You'll have one that is just all open, and so after I get it woven on there, as I'm doing the back and forth, I can stick locks on there and make it all shaggy, like a sheep that hasn't been shorn yet with its long locks. And then this one is I should paint and then do the inside. And so I might not make this as realistic. This might be in, green and make the heart in flower colors or something like that. It smells like lathed wood. It smells like wood. So, yeah. I had to buy one. They had different shapes. They had butterflies and everything like that. I will do it on stream. I'll work on it on stream. And so you'll be seeing that later on. Probably this winter when I'm really good and bored. Wanted something different to do. And that's what I bought. That's all I bought. Alright, I guess this must go this way. There we go. Alright, let's fly. You tired of looking at this wheel not moving? Yeah, applying is so boring to me. Oops. There we go. I did some spinning this morning. I was working on the light blue of the Blues Study Shetland fiber that I had dyed and put in the State Fair. So I had one bobbin. In fact, here it is. This is the one bobbin that's done. It looks very gray on my thing, unfortunately, but it's a beautiful periwinkle blue is the color. And I'm working on the second bobbin to apply with it because it's going to be that solid color yarn. The colors are at peak. It was gorgeous yesterday. It was beautiful driving up there and back. It was just very, it was a little chilly, a little windy. Today's a little warmer. It's perfect outside right now. I hate seeing it go away. It's not going to last, I know. It made me happy to wash my yarn this morning. I look at that yarn and I think, this is really pretty. I so need to make stuff out of hand spun yarn. I have so much. I'd rather just spin it. A very, very, very busy week coming up. Got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I got a dentist appointment Wednesday. I'm having a cataract surgery on one eye Thursday. I have a post-operation visit on Friday. Oh, Lord. Hello, Guitar Nuts. How was Saf? Oh, man. My Discord is broken. If you've posted, I haven't been able to see it yet. I cannot figure out why it won't log me in. I mean, let me say that different. I was trying to post the, the thing that, okay, yeah, I'm logged out here. You unable to go. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. My Discord it won't take my login. I logged out because it wouldn't let me post that I was doing this stream. It says, no, I can't post. So I thought, well, I'll just log back in. Now I can't log in. It doesn't recognize my login. So I just didn't mess with it before stream, right? Hopefully I'll get it fixed. And hopefully, I don't know what's going to happen. This is my desktop, right? Whether I'll be able to get on my iPad where I'm already logged in or not. Or if it logs me out. So, I don't really know. Well, I am so sorry. It's, I did go to my fiber fair. It was tiny. It was in Corydon, Indiana, and there were maybe 20 vendors there, so it was really small. But it was. I bought a few things. It was nice to go. Didn't stay very long. Stopped at a farm market after that. Went to eat at a place on the Ohio River, which was a place we hadn't been for a long time, and it's a really it's been there for a long time kind of place, and it's called the Overlook because you're up on a bluff and you're looking down on the river. It's really nice. Um, just country food, not a little pricey, but not. It's country food. It's not like it was a fancy restaurant. So we had a lovely day yesterday. Your neighbor had a bit of an animal emergency and you helped him all day. Oh, wow, good for you. Yeah, that's a good thing. Helping neighbors is a good thing because then they're there for you. I know about that. I'm making it a priority next year. Would that be the only one you could go to? More important to me than driving a few hours for something to spend money at. I bought stuff this time though. I've been so good. I did not buy any fleece. That's still. I've kept my promise to hubby. I wouldn't buy, and I did not buy any fleece. But I wasn't real tempted. Um, I came to the conclusion fall Fiberfest, spring ones are better. They have just sheared. There's way more fleeces to choose from. You can go to Maryland Sheep and Wool probably. That's only a few hours. Oh, that's nice. It's so far for me. Both of them are far for me. But going south works if we're like going down to Florida. You know what I'm saying? That I can make that work because it's on my way down to Florida. It's out of the way, but it's still south, going somewhat south from me. Anyway, I have been to SAF. I even took a class one time on spinning cotton there. That was 2 or 3 years ago. I believe it might have been in 21. But I have never been to Maryland. And I have talked often about going to Maryland. It is just, that time of year is so busy. It is so hard to get away in May. You're close enough to Georgia too? Yeah. What's in Georgia? You can make that a nice trip, yeah. Yeah, we go through Georgia all the time. Anyway, we were on back roads yesterday. It was fun because after we went up to the Corydon where it's at on the freeway. But after that, we wanted to go to a place that is on the Ohio River to eat. And so instead of getting up on the freeway, we GPSed it and we were going through hills and foliage and beautiful, beautiful country. It was a wonderful drive. It was a gorgeous day for it. Sunny and cool and nice. Hello. Shapester, I appreciate the compliment. At my age, I can't be anything but wholesome. That's the best I can do. Welcome, by the way. This is called spinning. I am making yarn. This is an old-fashioned craft. Not a lot of people do it, but the people that do it, like me, are very adamant about how wonderful it is. It's relaxing, it's tactile, it gives you yarn that you have to do something with, and it has gorgeous colors. And there are many, many, many steps that you can do on the side of this particular craft, like the actual raising of fiber animals, or taking the fiber from it and making it ready to spin, to spinning it, to using the yarn. So it's was a necessity, when this is how we got some of our fiber to make our clothes, but it's no longer a necessity. Now it is just something. You had an Angora rabbit. Oh, that was what started me, because I was raising Angora rabbits also. Yeah, well, you have to, one thing at a time. You learn. Yeah. Guitar Nut raises Angora rabbits too. I do not have rabbits anymore. I got to the point where I didn't want to do the barn work, and they take care, brushing and that sort of thing, and we like to travel now that we're retired, so I didn't want to travel. I didn't want to have somebody come and take care of the rabbits. It's bad enough they have to come and feed my cats, so I let the others do that now. They are good pets. They are bred to be handled, right? So they don't mind sitting on your lap. They're very, very easy. As long as you keep them brushed, they're very easy to take care of. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you're not going to really go to a pet store to find them. Going to have to find them on the breeders who are raising them. Is that right, Guitar Nut? It works? A Barrett Turner works? I always wondered about that. When I was raising the rabbits, nobody ever talked about that. It was like pluck or scissors, right? There was... Yeah. That's interesting. I'm glad to know that works. You need to do a video of that. Put it on YouTube. Right, so they didn't panic? Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. They get them used to the sound. I didn't think about that. Scissors, of course, don't have sound, right? So they would react to that. What a good idea. Yeah, I think people would like seeing bunnies get a haircut. You see? Shapester said so. So Shapester, you know, the bunny has to be, well, you can cut it anytime, but to pluck it, it has to be one that molts. If you had a breed that doesn't molt, it would be hard to pluck. Giants, the big white ones, don't molt. I'm reading back. Sorry, I missed some of the. You got yours for free. I missed a few of your comments, so I read back now. She was a little white one. She definitely molded. Okay, plucking came out super easy. Yep, that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Are you a spinner? Do you have a friend or somebody who is a spinner? Because when spinners want Angora that's been plucked, it's longer, right? And so really, really short Angora is hard to spin. You always wanted to try? Oh. Well, I hope you find somebody that maybe can give you some hands-on sometime. You can watch all sorts of videos, but sometimes it's better to have somebody right there while you're trying with the fiber and everything. They can give you tips and help you out. You have one of the little twisty spinners in your Amazon wish list. You haven't bought it yet. You have a 5-gallon bucket full of fiber. Guitar nut. How do you know it's fun to spin if you if you have that much? Oh. That's a lot of fiber. When I'll reminisce here in a minute, you were able to scissor cut the top along the backbone, basically, and fire up the trimmer and, trace it all along the skin. It actually cut the fur really nice. I believe it. That sounds wonderful. I spin it for funsies. You do knit. That's what you would do with it. I did sell my yarn at a booth recently in last September. So that was the first I had for quite a while. When I used to do booths, and I was going to just now talk about that, Um, I was selling fiber. I had the Angora rabbits and I was selling the fiber. And what I was going to talk about is when I would pluck them, I didn't mix the animal's fibers. I kept each distinct animal's fiber together. I would lay a piece of, I'd have a TV tray beside me, and I'd have the rabbit in my lap, and I'd lay a piece of tissue paper down on the TV tray, and just lay that fiber directly onto the tissue paper. And then I would roll it up and tie it with a ribbon at each end. They look like bonbons. That's how I sold them. Now, I sold seconds in Ziploc bags and that sort of thing. I mean, that was prime. And most of the people who bought it were previous customers. They knew the rabbits that I had. They knew the colors that I had. They would ask for specific colors and that sort of thing. So it helps because you can't really see the fiber. I would have some on display, but you know, as a vendor, I'm asking the buyer to take it on faith that it's a quality product by doing it that way. But it was so nice because it kept that fiber really nice. And guitar nut, I totally agree with you. I use scissors and I would nick them now and then, and I hated that. I really felt bad. So that was years and years ago, and then I had to go back to work. So I sold all my does, and I just kept the bucks, and I kept them until they passed away. And then I said, okay, I'm not going to raise anymore. And then I hadn't done any booths for years and years and years because I, wasn't doing the Angora rabbits anymore. Then I decided, well, I ought to try selling my yarn. So in September I did. I did really well. And I'm going back to the same one next year in September. I don't know if I'm going to add more or not. I'm going to take this a little bit at a time. I have, hi, small girl. Long time no see. Good to see you. I have a little hesitancy to sell online, but I may give it a try. The problem is, of course, it costs, and as a buyer, I would be very hesitant to buy handspun yarn online, but I buy other things. I buy fiber online, and I've been burned a few times. It's been nasty, right? It hasn't been nice. But on the whole, it's usually okay. I don't know. I don't know why. I know. Etsy. You keep missing my streams. Well, I'm so glad you caught it. I changed to Wednesday evenings, and the Sunday afternoon has always been this way. And I'm on Eastern Standard Time, so of course, that isn't always on everybody's timetable. But yeah, I did. I cut down to 2 streams a week instead of 3. I know, Shapester. I really should try Etsy. They take a lot of the money. They take a lot of it, and then, so I would have to. What I asked for the yarn at the booth live, I'd have to add probably 20% to cover shipping and the Etsy fees. Yeah, exactly. I'd have to upcharge, but people do pay it. That is true. I don't. but that doesn't mean other people don't, you know. I don't buy online because I am at the point in my life where I did for years and years and years. So it's not that I've never done it. It's that I don't recently do it because I am trying to stash down and use the fiber that I have. And a lot of the fiber that I have is still fleeces. And the fleece means it comes straight from the sheep, and I have to wash it, and then I have to process it, and then I have to spin it. Oh, speaking of which, some of the yarn I washed today was the brown Shetland fleece that I had bought, and I love that yarn. I love that yarn. Shetland is, I just have this thing about Shetland wool. I love Shetland. And that brown is, it came out. It's such a pretty yarn. It's not thin. It's DK2 Aran, and it's just going to make something really wonderful, you know. Why buy it when you can make it yourself? Well, because I do have to buy fiber to make it with, right? I don't raise any fiber animals, so I do have to buy fiber. I just don't right now because I am trying to, like knitters who buy so much yarn, right? And they all of a sudden reach a point where I don't want to buy any more yarn. I gotta knit, I gotta knit, I gotta knit. Well, I'm kind of that point with the spinning. Got lots of fiber, I just need to spin. What I'm doing right now, Shapeser, is called plying. Each of these that are in my hand is already a spun single. This one here is they're both wool. Okay, this one is from a sheep that is called Cormo Romandale. This one is from a sheep that's called Polworth, right? So this is wool yarn, but two different breeds. This one here is natural color. It's brown. Alright, this one here is dyed. Right now it's brown also. But it has different, like, that's kind of pinky. It's hard to see. It's as subtle, but it is dyed. Which is why this is looking really variegated, right? Because the one is a solid brown and the other one has color to it. Shapester says, I'm like that. I find pretty yarns and say, oh, I'll knit something, but then you just get too much. Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's goes with any of us that craft, because we can go look at something and see the potential. Right? We're buying potential, and we're buying crafting time. We say we're going to make it, right? So that's what I was always guilty of. Yeah, go buy that fleece. It's cheap. It's a cheap way to get a whole bunch of fiber to spin. So it just takes a lot of work. And thank you. I'm very happy with it. It's looking pretty to me too. It looks very much like a manly kind of yarn, although I love the colors, but I think gentlemen might like it too. Yeah, yeah. Do most of your knitting in the winter, especially around Christmas. That's good. Christmas presents and all. But um, I know what you mean. It's cozier to knit in the wintertime. Probably going to need a second bobbin. And these are big bobbins. Um, Finished yarn, I'll have close to 200 yards on the bobbin when I have it filled. Might be more like 250. This is pretty thin. I have to bring the last of my plants. This is just me thinking of what I'm going to do after a stream. I got to bring the last of my plants in. We have frost warning tonight. I bought a really, really pretty mum. Deep burgundy color. It's so pretty. So I'm going to bring that into the mudroom so it's out of the cold air tonight. You were going to ask, it looks like a thinner yarn. What would I make with this? This would make this would work for a scarf. It's a little too thin for a hat. It would work for gloves. It will work with other yarn for vest or sweater, but won't be enough by itself. So it would have to be put with a like a base color, like a brown yarn or something like that, a white yarn. That's one of the things that happens with hand spun. I buy a set amount of fiber because that's the way the dyer sold it, and then that's all I have when I spin it. That's all I have of that yarn. So I can't often go and find the exact same thing. I have to do it instead. Find other yarns that look good with it. Right? Sometimes I have to spin the yarn. Sometimes I have it already spun, and I can add to it. This would go really, really pretty with the brown Shetland that I was talking about. So that's what happens. I end up putting multiple spinning projects together for a knitting project. You bought the deep burgundy too? Yeah, that was really pretty. I mean, the yellows are cheery and the oranges are standard and everything, but I thought, oh man, this is really pretty. Okay, heads up, 2 minutes, 3 minutes actually. We're going to have an ad break. It'll last about 3 minutes. So you want to use that as a chance to go get food or water or take a quick break from whatever project you're working on. Oh, I didn't read that right. That wasn't a 2-minute warning. That was it did not give me a warning. You guys are in ads. I'm sorry. I thought I could warn you. Alright, welcome back, you guys. Thank you for watching the ads if you watched. Thank you for sticking around till they were done. Hopefully, maybe you got yourself a little break from your project and something to eat or drink. Coming up on supper time, I imagine, for a few of us. Not so much as we go towards the West Coast. Yes, welcome back. I switched out my clothes. I do not have the closet space to keep both seasons. So I store the warm weather season clothes, get out the winter, and I always feel like I have a new wardrobe. It's like, oh, I haven't worn these for a while. This will be nice. Let's wear this today. Then, of course, by February, I'm sick of them. Flying is not as much fun as spinning. Spinning is more fun. I need to take a finger break though. Yep, stretch break. Okay. And water break. Oop. This bobbin's filling up fast. I have twice as much of the brown as I do of this dyed fiber. And I knew that. I went ahead and spun up all of the brown that I had. I will just hold on to the bobbin and find another 4 ounces to ply it with at some point. Back to one of the ways we tell what our yarn is compared to like commercial yarn or whatever. Oh, I hid my phone. I buried my phone over here. It's a good thing I looked. Where is my? It's a gauge, reps per inch, and reps per inch isn't something that commercial yarns uses, but this is how you do it. You have a little, this is an inch, that's exactly an inch in that notch, and so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You don't squish it together, you just lay it side by side. Right, that's 11 wraps per inch. That actually, most of my yarn I spin is 11 wraps per inch. But what that is relates to, there's a chart if you go online. Yarn chart. And 9 to 12 is worsted Aran weight. 12 to 15 is DK. 14 to 18 is baby weight. 18 to 30 is sock weight. So I always have to look it up. I don't remember. But that is how we get a general estimate when we're going to knit with our hand spun yarn as to general projects that will work. You look at that first, and then this is a project for worsted weight. This is a project for DK. This is sock project. Obviously I don't knit my socks out of this heavy of a yarn. It looks thin, but when you put 2 of them together, it not only gets doubled, but kind of relaxes and spreads out a little more, and so it's always way bigger than twice the single. The single could be 25 wraps per inch, but the 2-ply is going to be 11 to 12 wraps per inch. Anyway, that's how we judge what we can make. And then, of course, you have to swatch. And I always swatch with, I know swatching is like, nobody likes to swatch. I don't usually swatch with commercial yarn, but I always swatch with handmade, because, hand spun, because, one, it's a little deceiving, because it's not as tightly twisted and as many plies as commercial yarn. So it can be deceiving to just look at the yarn and think, oh yeah, that'll work for socks. No, it won't work for socks, right? It's too thick. So, yeah, that's how you figure out how to knit with hand spun yarn. What's my favorite thing to knit? I like knitting socks, but that's with commercial yarn. I only buy commercial yarn for socks, but I love hand knit socks, and I have a pair on right now. I have a lot of pairs. I don't knit them for anybody else but me. After that, I would say lace shawls. I like lace a lot. Yeah. What's your favorite thing to knit? Is that I love socks to wear, or I love socks to knit? That's what I'm really asking. I do Sock Madness. I don't do the competition. I always do the qualifiers so I can get the patterns, but nothing else. I can't stand the competition because I can't knit to a rapid deadline. Big chunky blankets, yeah, those are really nice too. Afghans are fun. I mean, I like Afghans too. So, yeah, there's just so many things you can knit. It just depends on whether you want a nice quick project for the satisfaction of getting it done, or something that'll keep you occupied for a while. Lace is tricky in a way, but with the advent of digital patterns, and I don't know how digital you are, but I use my iPad. I use a free software called Knit Companion, and it has a way of, when you have a chart, which you almost always have with lace, it will show the chart, and it has a way to move a marker bar down digitally, right, and row counter digitally. So I have my iPad open, and I have the pattern, and I have the row counter, and it's just so much better than trying to knit out of a book. I used to, I have a lot of knitting books, and I hardly ever use them anymore. With digital patterns, makes it so much easier. Check off rows as you go. Yeah, right. I mean, I love a good mindless knit, right, where I don't have to pay attention to anything. I did a big rug for the side of my bed. It was out of chunky yarn. It was hand spun yarn, and all I did was knit with great big size 11 needles, right? I love that rug. So it was a great use for some of my yarns that were not soft enough to make into garments. But it feels good on my bare feet in the mornings and stuff. I am almost done with color, the dyed fiber. The bobbin is just coming to the point where it's showing some of the bobbin. So it's coming off and almost done. It's gonna fit on this bobbin. I was sorry taking a quick peek to see if there was anybody to. I'm about done here. I've got another about 15 minutes or so. Um, See if there was anybody to raid. Um, I might. There might be one person if she's still on. I might raid. I don't have a whole lot of. Shapester, I think you're my only viewer right now. But I think it's a good thing to raid. I wish people don't raid me. They very, very seldom raid me. Some of the people that are my viewers who also stream, every once in a while they will raid if they happen to be streaming. You like raiding? I didn't know you. So you stream? Spreading the love, especially like they're just starting out. How can he tell? How long have you been streaming? I've been streaming 3 years. Going on. It might have been 4 in July. Kind of lost track. Video games, though. Okay, see, I'm not a gamer. Yeah, so that's part of the reason. There's a lot of more choices if you're with gamer than in the making and crafting. Your anniversary's in November. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm gonna go give you a follow anyway. Let me find you. Are you under Shapester? I'll find out here. There you are, I think. Did you say you're absolutely horrid at games? Is that you? With the lovely, lovely red hair? All right. Well, I just gave you a follow. That way I'll maybe catch you sometime when I'm watching. Because you have been wonderful company today. When you first got here. Okay. Well, thank you. It's a good place to hang out when you are working on something else. Hi, Holly. Welcome. You are just in time. But you can go with me to raid somebody else. I'm going to finish up here. I've got a bobbin almost done. I'm plying. And after I finish that bobbin, I'm going to call the end of the stream and go raid somebody. For a while, last year, I was doing what I called meditation streams. It was no chat, it was music, and just, I didn't talk. I had my mic muted, and I just spun. So that, the ASMR kind of thing, right? But I haven't done that for a while now. Probably because I've been kind of busy. Yeah, I didn't know. I had no way of knowing if people enjoyed it or not, right? So, without the feedback, I guess I kind of gave up on it, not knowing. But I figured that, people want something on that they're doing, studying or doing something. It's kind of like the kitten channel that I watch. Sometimes I put that animal kitten rescue channel on. Watch the kittens play. Oh my gosh. Talk about cute. Cute, cute, cute. You are an ASMR girl? Oh, okay. It's a spinning wheel. It's called a spinning wheel. And you can hear it, right? Yeah. That's the part. I muted my mic, but you could hear the spinning wheel on the streams. And if I'm quiet and the music's quiet, you can hear it on my regular streams too. Yeah, it's called a spinning wheel. And thank you. I have been told that many times. I did 13 years of podcasts, just audio podcasts, not a video. Before the Twitch came along, I did podcasts about spinning, the fiber and all that. You only meant to pop in. Oh, that is so nice. Thank you. So anyway, yeah, on those podcasts, people would send me messages and say, your voice is so calming. And I know it's a fact because if I would re-listen to it sometimes, I'd fall asleep, so I know I have a really calming voice. I gave up doing the podcast. It's under Yarn Spinner's Tales, which is exactly what says above what you see there. That's my name, Yarn Spinner's Tales. So you can Google that if you ever want to take a listen. It is my voice. You shrill. Yeah. Well, it's not intentional one way or another. It's just how I talk. Oh, I'm very close to being done here. That is a very full bobbin. Lots of yarn. There's the end. Now I have what is called a niddy noddy. it is not. It's NODDY, and it is how I make a skein of yarn. I'm not going to do that for a day or so. I'm going to let it sit on the bobbin and kind of get settled into itself, and then I'll make a skein of yarn, or 2 skeins depending. But that is birth of a new yarn. Right there. All right, I am going to turn off my music. And I am going to, I'm already on Twitch here. Thank you. Oh, I'm on Twitch twice. Oh, okay. This is the channel editor. There we go. All right, let's see. I was thinking about Knitting Nurse. Let me go look and see what she's doing.
Oh my gosh.
Plugged in here.
Talk. Cruel. Just so that you can tape my eyes open, force me to watch Doctor Who.
She's making a sweater.
Y'all are a bunch of mean ass nerds.
And I don't think she's going to be leaving here too much. I don't know when she's going to be leaving, but not right away. So let's raid her. I'll mute her for a moment. Push all the buttons. She sounds sassy, yes. She's sassy. She's got a nice sweater going. It looks very fall. Looky here. You can see my mint. Looky here. How about that? Over here, further back, I have cotton plants. I am actually growing cotton that I can spin. I have brought plants in, like I said, because the weather is not, these are tender and could not last through the weather. So they're going to live with me here for the winter. All right, I will be back on Wednesday evening, Eastern Standard Time. I usually go 7 to 9 p.m., trying to catch some of the people who are workers and have the night off. And here, I can show you something. Shapester. This is the second batch. But this is how it looks after it. This is dried. This is from last year. And I kept these because these were too tightly, they didn't open enough to pull the cotton out. But the ones I got about 8 of them. They're a lot bigger and they're more open, and I can pull the cotton right out of there along with seeds. So I opened up one of these and got more seeds and started the one that's growing now. and it has buds on it, making those, what you see, those dried things. They're called bolls. So anyway, I don't know. Cotton is very, very hard to spin. I have a hard time spinning it. So it's not something that I really am very good at or do, but it's been very exciting to have the opportunity to have it grow for me. I don't have sheep or, anything like that. So it's just been fun to go through the process. Okay, we're going to go raid Knitting Nurse. I will be back Wednesday. Hang around a little bit with her. Plants and yarn. Yes. And here is, let me see if I can do this. Some things aren't been working for me today, but here's a raid call. And copy it. And you can copy it and give that. So, take care. Thank you. So nice to meet you, Shapester. I really appreciate you stayed with me. Hope I catch you again. In the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful life. And I will talk to you all later. Let's do this raid. Let's see if I get it right. Yep. There we go. All right. See y'all. Bye.
Gosh, she's adorable.